Hello, I'm Cookie Stoner, and welcome to Cookie Stoner Presents. I am here with Madge Atkinson, and of course, you know, this is a very serious interview, but I was like, Madge, what is that short for? And you're like, it's Madge. It's just, that's your name, right? But it's kind of a sassy name. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah,
kind of
right?
like Madonna.
Yeah, kind of, I was going to say, kind of like, that's what I was going to say. I got the Madge. Well, you said if you Google the word, the name Madge, it comes up with Madonna.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're going to change that, okay?
All right.
We're going to make it sure it comes
Let's
up to
do
your
it.
face. So, Madge, thank you so much for being here for our coming out series here on Cookie Stoner Presents. We have, I'm very honored to have the brave people. And the reason I say it's brave is because the people who have come on here and shared their stories with us, it's been a source of a lot of pain, a lot of nerves. There have been some tears, shame that being lifted. I'm not saying that that I'm lifting any shame, but the fact that they, one of our friends who in his 50s, that he is just now feeling comfortable that he can say this, and that's what I want to do in this series is to this is normal. This is who people are, and that's why I started. As you know, as I talked to you about my daughter, is it was just never an issue, and I'm finding that not everybody's raised like that, and but there are people who think that maybe I did something wrong, and though I know I did not, I know that that's how she was made. Just the dialogue out there, and there's a lot of love. But there's also a lot of misinformation, maybe a lot of fear, and maybe a lot of hate. So, and we don't want to focus on the hate. I don't want to do that. But your story is such I'm trying to think of the right adjective. It's actually a happy story.
Yeah.
It is. But the start was maybe not that easy. It's not, and as you said, it was something that you knew. But you had to do what? You had to suppress it. So tell me a little bit about it, what it was like growing up as Little Madge Phillips. See, I already knew that, Little Madge Phillips. Tell us what that was like.
Well, I'm the youngest of 8 kids.
Wow, you didn't even tell me that.
I am
wow,
the youngest of 8 kids. And grew up in Gulfport, Mississippi.
Gulfport, I love the way you said it, and you have the accent. Gulfport, Mississippi, okay.
I knew at a young age that I could sense and tell that I thought a little differently, felt a little differently about myself, and found myself having little crushes on girls. But because my family and I were very active in our church, in a Southern Baptist church, these are the kind of things that you were taught, nope, that's not God. No, you can't feel that. No, you can't think that. And so you really suppress, you really deny, and you really overlook, and you move on, and you do the normal.
What the normal is, you find crushes on little boys.
That's exactly right.
And so you sort of train your brain to do that.
That's right. You
train your brain. That's what's interesting. You train your brain to do that. Now, I want to touch on, not trying to call your family out or anyone out that you were raised around, but was this ever a topic, or did you just hear? I mean, I'm sure you came from a lovely family, and most of the people I've even spoken with now, it's not that there was ever any mean homophobia or just outward anger, but did you ever tell anyone, or did you just sort of watch as observe and say, I don't think this is, they're saying that this is not normal, so I better not do this. Did you just sort of soak it in from your environment?
It was kind of a hush-hush topic. So you really, because my parents were older, that was nothing that was ever discussed. Really because of biblical training at church, that is where it was ingrained in you. Ingrained in me that, this is something that is not, it's not biblical, it's, it's heretical thinking if you think that that's okay. And so, but it was about 12, moving into the teenage years, where I just began to have a little more liberal thinking in my theology and in my upbringing. I was always the kid that asked why.
You were the thinker.
I was.
And it wasn't that you were being, well, I don't know, it might be speaking for you. It's not so much being a rebel. You just were like, wait a minute, let me think about this. Did you ever ask anyone?
Yes, and that's exactly it, because I felt like there were some people, because I would always ask the questions of why, that was kind of interpreted, why are you asking? I mean, this is settled, it's done, it's over with. And so, anyway, so I did have a couple of questions for my youth minister. I became more inquisitive. The more it wanted to be shoved down, the more inquisitive I became.
And you're growing into your, you're who you are.
Yes.
Really, at that age. And then you're having to do this.
Correct. So again, it was back to the place of suppression, denial, overlook, forget about it. And so, I dated lots of guys.
Is there shame?
Yes, there was shame and guilt with it. Always.
Did you try to pray it away yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I have never met anybody who actually prayed to be gay.
Good point. That would be a great stopping spot, but we're not stopping there. Then let's bring that one up again when we talk about your church. That's a very good one.
Yes.
Actually, that is so simple and commonsensical, but you never really hear anybody say that.
No.
You only hear people say, like, everyone is like, even your friend Kenneth was like, I spent every Saturday night trying to pray it away. Mm-hmm. Okay, I didn't mean to stop that thought process, but as you said, you tried to do that, but you had the guilt and the shame. Did someone in your church was there anything happening that, oh boy,
Well, it wasn't until I was about 17 that I kind of had my first little experiment, and did talk to my youth pastor, and who was not very happy with me because I sang on worship teams. I was on some youth leadership teams. And
so you've done this, and now
I had to step down for a little while and get some counseling and talk to my pastor and so forth.
So was this a kind of a public thing, or?
No, they did not bring me publicly before the church at all.
Well, but did they tell your parents why, or did everyone have to know?
My parents did find out.
Wow.
And so, but anyway.
Shame, right?
Yeah, so I got through that with grace and mercy from God. And so, started dating guys a lot. And, I really did like guys. I like guys.
Sure.
I still had some attraction, off and on towards girls. And then by the time I was 21, I did marry. I married another gentleman who was going into the ministry. So we had some common goals. I did feel like I fell in love, and I also felt like I got married too early and probably skirted some issues that should have been dealt with.
Were your parents and everybody like,
Oh, everybody was
this
ecstatic.
is it. Okay, now we're done.
Oh, yeah.
We're good.
We're good, and
okay.
so we're fine. And I was married 23 years. We served in ministry together, have two wonderful, awesome young sons. And they are
So you were married until you were about 42 then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Did you see how good I am at math?
Yeah.
I'm over here doing the math. I just wanted you to know that, and I'm not trying to make light of that, but I
Yes.
was doing, because I know you're now 48. So, so at 42, it was just a marriage that y'all had given so much of your life to the ministry.
Absolutely, yes.
And maybe as you said, the demise was not to do with your sexuality.
Not at all.
But mainly to do with y'all were just doing this.
We were. It was just some irreconcilable differences that we had spiritually. We were just emotionally in different places. And it was a 2-year process of separation and our divorce.
I'm sure very painful.
It was. And it was during that time I really had to take some hard looks at who I was. Because, after you've been married so long, you feel like, okay, this is all I've ever known as my identity. Mm-hmm. Who is Madge?
Right.
Who am I really? And so I began to do some really soul searching in lots of areas of my life. Went through a Great Depression after that. This was the time when I finally realized, okay, I need to take a look at this. I need to finally take a look at this and deal with this. And I was on Match.com. I had just moved back to the the Southeast from Missouri. And I decided one day just to go over and flip the switch to the other side, and that's when I found my wife, Natalie Johnson.
Wow. So
And,
y'all actually, and y'all, I know y'all have been married for
almost 2 years.
and I know she's great,
Yes.
and I have actually gotten to know you all through Facebook, through Kenneth, and
Yeah.
through your church, which we will talk about later. But so y'all, I'm sure became great friends, and just then you were able
Yes.
to realize this
Yes.
is, this is my my person.
Yes.
My person. Well, I'll tell you
Yes.
what we're going to do. I want to sort of end up this segment because that talks, you told us a little bit about, growing up, how you set it up, and then to come back and, find out who you really are. And then I want to talk a little bit about, the way you actually felt and how you handled this, because when you got here, you're like, whoa, you had some definite ideas, even though you were liberal thinking, you had some definite ideas, and we'll just see, was that because you were trying to, reconcile it and try to live, live the good life,
Right.
as you so were raised and thought. So we'll be right back after this, and thank you for Miss Madge, segment 1. We appreciate it.